time rewinds to the end of May, the light is shifting, the skies are changing, new vistas appear. Wherever you are in the world, welcome here to the greatest show ever seen, about the greatest story ever told, where hopes and dreams meet ends and means, and the chocolate biscuit ratio is always in your favor. Where the host never sleeps and the stats never rise, on sandy shores, rescued from a deadly chase. But they're still coming for you. You know them, and you know the lay of the land now. They're still coming for you. Welcome to Tradesploshing, an unreasonable land.
Bring on the prices roll.
And you're gonna get fucked up! Hello, eh? Charts, that's not them. This is them. Welcome back. You're not interested in Spy, are you? Oh, are you? So, 418 was the close. Not bad. We did speak about this on Spy. The targets, 420. There, it made it. Congratulations, everybody who's following along. You following along? If you are, you're probably seeing some of the AI fund that we've been talking about launching. I have a little bit of a look across the different tickers. Some things to be paying attention to. Big volatility on Rigetti. Flash down there to aim for. That is not it. Basis blind. Big volatility there on Friday. Haven't seen a big move just beforehand, so lots of things on the go there. Pay attention to that. We don't need the extra hours on. Rugala. So, GameStop. Pushed up towards those targets we spoke about. Turned into a channel, as we mentioned it might do, having held the 200 period moving average. Targeting these retracement levels, 50% golden pocket, creating this third touch of resistance and creating a parallel channel to the top side. So we could have then anticipated a test back down again, and we did draw it at one stage. It seems to be progressing so far. Hold this level, test these resistance, come back, find support. So if you do manage to find support at 21.32, that's very positive. Currently at 22, but that's after a 4% retracement. And then the basis line within the Bollinger Bands there on the 4 hour comes in at that 21.31, 21 spot 15 be a little bit of the 382 sort of area, somewhere in that zone. So 236 is at 22. Hold that, very positive. Breakdown, you're looking for 382, 21 spot 22. That breaks 50% retracement, another tested 200 period moving average, fill a prior gap, possibly go on a little bit further. Could easily break down. If you do break down the measured move from within the formation, takes you to those levels, no further really. Maybe 786 down at 1906, and that would fill another gap. So you're not going to see much further than that off this formation at the greatest possible extent. More likely as you find resistance on the way down at 21 spot 22 and then 20 spot 59. Anything further might be that you're looking at something entirely different that's evolved from the breakdown, but I would be looking at those levels, in particular that one in around 20 for retests on GME. If it breaks below that on the 4 hour, it could be testing this previous structure, coming back down, right down again, which would depend on what Spy was doing. 1 hour time frame, you've got that 50 simple supporting you, so you get an early sign if that breaks, and you are on the bottom side of the Bollinger Bands themselves, potentially expanding from here. So if you don't go back up again, then those would be the levels to look to. And going back up, you've got the basis line within this Bollinger Band at 22.74. So that's in around the oscillations that you were touching on Friday, those highs. If you do break it, you've got a little bit of an inflection point at 23, and then the previous high 23 spot 22. So it's all very tight ranges to the top side, and I wouldn't necessarily be thinking about an extension of this trend yet. I'd be looking at the previous oscillation here at that last target I said, 23 spot 20, and then trying to get in around those levels Any higher would be golden pocket retracements. But you're going higher than 24 at the minute is asking a lot because you haven't actually tested support within this formation yet, although got to the 50 simple. And then asking to go above a golden pocket at 23.70, that's taking it back above all this horizontal resistance that was quite strong towards the end of March. So I would expect price action to find some congestion at those levels should it push higher, and I definitely wouldn't anticipate breaking this parallel channel. Perhaps touch the previous highs and go on, but break the channel from here would necessitate breaking the golden pocket and all this prior resistance, which isn't just relevant at the start of April, end of March. It's also interesting high in February's, and at the end of last year, that's the breakdown point. So you're asking it to get a bit above important level, and also there'll be a lot of volume at those prices we said, because if you look at big buys in GME and you go back pre-split and you work out everybody's price, that's in and around the mean price that a lot of people have been paying for it. So that's looking at it on that formation. If you go into something like the 2-day or even onto the weekly, 200 period moving average is back there up at $30. You get above 24, that's the next target. This formation is a downward sloping parallel channel, so the basis line within it being below you is positive, but it's a downward sloping channel. So you really need to find support at any downward move, because overall it's a downtrend. To change that would take significant achievements. Now these are the zones marked out slightly easier to see when I stretch the screen. So yeah, fall back down again, basis line within the channel. Longer that goes on, more critical that you would find support at that horizontal, because otherwise, looking left is terrible. And then top side, 200 period moving average is at the top side of the resistance on daily. Weekly time frame, you're finding support here in at around 21.80. 50 simples up at around 25 again, so still trapped within this range that we spoke about, 23, then 25 if you're lucky. Afterwards, right, great, sky's the limit, $30 really limit, but yeah, sky's the limit. After that, we talk about something else. So that's what we're thinking there. And then that would obviously depend on what SPY's doing. We spoke about this a while ago. If SPY manages to get up to 420, break to 435, is GME on the way to higher targets. So we got the 24 target there. Some people will be like, but it didn't go to 50. It's like, well, yeah, SPY didn't go to 430 or 450 either, innit? So, but they both moved in the same direction. Quite positive. So you're looking at this thing making its way back up again if it managed to break these horizontals, and they're very important. I think that you've tested this important level at 420 and closed that gap at 418 and performed well in the test reaching these levels. Whether or not you can exceed them and then use them as support is a completely different story. Top side of the Bollinger Band there on a weekly time frame, typically you would find some resistance there, even if it wasn't an uptrend, you see. When you are spending time at the top side of the Bollinger Band, it's only so long before you come back and test the basis line. If you then break through the basis line, it becomes resistance there. So find support at the bottom one, break through the basis line, find resistance at the top side. Doesn't hold you at the basis line, you're nearly guaranteed test at the bottom side. You see that's also the 200 period moving average. Just a lot of confluence. We call that confluence. You see the bullish divergence between them, you call that a trade. And then you see this as being the 50 simple period moving average as your target. And you get really easy trades, If you know what you're doing with regards to trading. That was 15% on SPY. Got that in a couple of months. It was at the lows there, so huge opportunity, and a lot of people watching the show did well there, which is great. I think a lot of people watching the show at this stage, this many weeks into sploshing, I think we've done something like 120 sploshings. At this stage, shocking. It's definitely over 100 sploshings. Like way over 100. And because of that, you guys are all fin masters at trading even when you're drunk. Right, so you're looking at the 50 simple resistance. Yeah. So, we were just saying, SPY, it has to break resistance. If it does, so good for all stocks. If it comes back down, right, that would be bad for all stocks unless Apple's doing it all on its own for no reason. So if you've been looking at the AI things, there's more to look at there. What else? This is a special Saturday sploshing. How many folks have we got? 10, 17, and 19 likes. Boom. Let me know if you want me to see any things. If there's anything you want me to look at. Here, the live chat's there, but there's not been enough messages to push them onto the screen yet. I can make an edit of that. Go. Hey, look, just the perfect amount of messages. Fits in neatly. Hope you can read that. If you're on a phone, probably not. Probably not. Mind you, I don't make the most of my screen real estate with these candlesticks either, do I? Despite that changing light, the shifting light and changing skies. Right, so 200 period moving average, flash there above. You're not caring about 15 seconds time frame on SPY. I'm not trading myself. Why am I doing this? It's a Saturday. Right, so that's the interesting contraction there, isn't it? Yo. That's interesting on the 15-minute time frame on the regular trading hours on SPY. This is very interesting. Monday's going to be interesting. Whole of next week will be fun. Apple, what's it doing? Got a touch of continuation divergence. Oh my goodness, 4-hour time frame. Yeah, sure, barely divergent, but that's not a 236, and this is a bullish trend. It's above the center line. It has been for a while. It's trending to the top side. Oh my goodness. And how many billions and billions and billions of they're spending on the most latest share buyback? Shocking, eh? What a trade. What a trade. Somebody like, I wish I could get this for $134. I wish I could get Apple at $130. Well, you watch the Tradesploshing. What's Tradesploshing? What else will we look at here? Don't need to look at my trades. Look at something generally from the Millionaire Maker series. Solo made a 7% move. Talked about potentially getting that trade again. It's at the 200 period moving average. Manager risk. This is just love this. And then Tesla. Good recovery there so far, didn't we say? What did we say? It loves the inverted head and shoulders. We'll give it another one. Yes, we will. Tesla makes these Tesla logos. We talked about Tesla Inception. Remember? I remember. How did I do? Where do you want to give me my Tesla Inception machine? There it is. Eh? Magic. Look. It's just magic how Tesla does what its logo shape is. This is magic. So amazing. So, more of that, please. More of that, please. Oh, Bitcoin, eh? Ooh. Suit Schuster. Rocky was right. Did do well. Held 26. Boom. Boom. He was saying 26 is an important line, and it bounced. So you don't particularly care about the energy select sector. What else will we look to here? Look to some of the crazy trades that chat box ask about and see how they're doing. The ones that Tradesploshing decided to keep on the list anyway. Nice move there from WKEY. Couple of nice moves there. If you're trading 2-hour time frame. Just 30-minute time frame. You got loads on that second one. Will it continue? Well, if it gets back into the bullish control zone, certainly will do. MVIS up 12% there. Continuation. Hold the basis line. We've talked about what happens in those formations. 2-hour, 4-hour. Look at that. Rockout crop flash at 4.08. If it continues, but like it's not trending down for these most recent, breaking these recent highs and putting in that test just before going back through that previous resistance, you would say that's potentially, when it comes back, a good area to test support, but it's not trending down. Sundial. Oh, you should tune in. If you're on the Discord, for sure, definitely get involved. Rocky's starting the new fund. The way I'm starting these two, this hypothetical fund, nearly gave a game away about another series coming soon. I'm doing a series now on artificial intelligence stocks, and those that are clearly going to be a big part of the future, that are going to be fundamental parts of the economy, going to be huge parts of the stock market, and are going to make huge shitloads of money for those people who invest in them. So I'm trying to define those stocks from a bunch, discern those best stocks with the highest potential, and I'm going to put them in a fund. Together we're going to manage it. I'm going to teach you how to do portfolio management for your own good, and we're going to add to and develop a risk corridor based on the assets that we have in that artificial intelligence fund. So we're going to pick them together, though it'll be mostly me doing it. We're going to choose the entries and exits, though obviously I'm better at that than you are, so it'll be me that does that bit. And we're going to put it all together in a really good portfolio, which is going to outperform the world's largest artificial intelligence trading funds. We're going to do it all live on the internet, and we're going to be the best in the world at it. That's a promise and a guarantee, because I'm doing it. And so, while it might not be, blockbuster viewing numbers, it will be a testament to how good we are, the best in the world. And then Rocky's doing the equivalent with weed stocks, all those that are fundamental to the industry. So it's often the spades and pickaxes that make you the money. And the same with EV stocks. It's often something that is a crossover into AI and quantum computing with battery tech, because nobody really knows what goes on inside a battery, certainly not the people that invented it. And so, once we understand these quantum processes and mechanics, we'll be able to get so much more energy density. If you have the right stocks that have got a combination of exposure to all of these increasing industries that are all very important, high margins and tiny monopolies, these sort of things, huge potential. So, while that's true of the AI and quantum computing fund, we're going to get such good stocks. And you guys follow along. It's not financial advice, but if you're looking at like a 10, 15-year horizon on your investment, if you're thinking of like a retirement fund, for example, these sort of things, you'd probably be stupidly rich, probably. So, and I'm in this to change the world. So if that takes that amount of time, that's how long it takes. It's going to be worth it. Well, also, along with this, pickaxes and tools, it's the same thing that's true in the weed industry. There's a lot of companies out there that facilitate the growth of the industry as a whole. And those, my friends, those are the ones to discover and invest in. Rocky knows what he's talking about there, and has done some background research on the whole, say some, but quite a significant amount, to decide how he will go ahead with that fund. So you can get involved in all of these. Take your pick for those that suit you. Follow along. We'll have weightings for each stock that fits within the portfolio. We'll manage the risk so that we're buying more of and selling more of those at the right times that overall grow the account, with the objective of trying to outperform those great big funds that track these things. So we're going to do that, and we're going to use those funds to help us. Boing. Good work. So, good news there coming in. So, yeah. Okay, I got the great news. I got it. So, yes. So get involved. Get involved via the Discord, of course. Always let us know in the comment section below the videos what you're thinking. Actually get it in the white video, but we get them everywhere, don't we? Get them everywhere. Sundial, if it does keep going, where's it at the minute? Jamie and his magic ruler. Boom. Resistance. So, Neo, a lot of potential. ASRT, a lot of potential to fall back down again. Stop making. If you want this indicator, get it on patreon.com/rockyoutcrop. Stealing off trades butter. Natural gas. Good work, Rocky. OCGN. Occidental. Terrible. We talked about this. Silver, right? Silver. People think there's some potential in silver here. 200 period moving average, bullishly divergent. It's previously in an uptrend. You've got a big gap to aim for up at around 23. That's 10% move, right? You could easily get a 10% move on silver. Come up, test 22.82. Daily time frame, you can see there, we had this level of resistance. You broke above it. Now you're using it as retest support. If you see my breakout trading video, this is an interesting information. It is, like, let's face it. Weekly time frame. That 200 period moving average, those Bollinger Band retests, is a bit of an expansion there. It's tested the basis line. It holds that with the 200, with the previous level of resistance. Now support, push back to top side of the Bollinger Band, close that gap, and you've got a 20% move. Go back and test the previous highs. You've got like 30-40% move on the go for silver. Right, no joke. I know it's stupid, eh? Why? Well, part of the reason, like, because you have to understand how it works, right? Silver, very precious commodity, secret, special secret commodity. To put on our secret special hat for it. So yeah, there's this huge bank, right? It's this huge bank, and they suppress the price of silver to their own benefit, constantly manipulate the precious metals market. They do it in particular on silver, right? Yo. Anyway, this bank, right, their collateral has been highly devalued recently, as with all banks. This particular one's also had to rescue those other banks, and so it's taken its foot off the ball a little bit. And so it's likely that those silver bulls got to strike while the silver is hot, or the iron, silver, iron. Imagine how luxurious and decadent that would be. But that's the way they'll live, these bullish silver bulls, silver bulls. I made a silver bull once. It's not silver, it's iron. I had to make something in CBT craft. What was the B for? Something and design. Maybe it was D, craft design technology. Quite possibly it was that. I don't know. I didn't pay much of attention to it all. Hey, first thing I did when I was there, we were making spatulas, and the guy took mine as an example to show everybody, and then was like, cool, look, we can just sand it down and make it even neater, and freaking whapped it into the machine, it ate it, and spewed it out. Hey, that was like the first day. Fuck that teacher after that. I was like, this guy's a moron. I'm not, you know what I mean? And so that was the end of that subject for me. But they do all sorts of interesting things there. And then later on, we had to make something out of a piece of metal. And I made this bull, and it's amazing. I'll show you sometime. Anyway, looks silvery. Like these silver bulls, they're crazy. They're like those irony bulls. Here, Tradesploshing, what's happened? You've gone back to yourself again. This happens in my head when I'm not live on the internet. These conversations 24/7. It's really difficult. And anyway, so I'm down the mines, right? Looking at the silver, and I'm thinking, you know, if it does break up, not bad. You know, you're at resistance there, but look at the pullback on the momentum and price action. Not so much. That's a weekly time frame. There on the daily time frame. This is where it would turn around, isn't it? You know, look at the continuation divergence on that, yo. There's a trend there. So you got to bear in mind these important magic ruler moves. You know, a couple of them, in fact. Got back to your golden pocket. You put in your reversal formation at the bottom side of this, expanding. Boom. You know, I mean, it does suggest you could potentially go up to 27 again. It does, eh? That'd be great. Silver making a bigger move than gold too, probably. So that'd be the one. You know, if you're interested in precious metals and trade, like, you know, honestly, there's people who obsess over these things, and like they make loads of money just by focusing on this tiny little corner of the market and whatnot. And I respect those people. So if you've got, if that's you, and you want extra silver information, precious metals, gold and whatnot, I thought about it on the market update streams, but nobody seems to respond to anything in particular in those streams. They just go, oh, this is great. But I'm not sure, like, if it's like, you know, I mean, I want it to be outstandingly amazing so that it helps everybody really, really supercharge their trading. So, I mean, if there's not, if it, you know, tell me what I can do to make it more like that. That's what it is. A process. I can't get it right straight away. Even if it feels brilliant, there'll probably be stuff to be said and done. So keep tailing me. So that's that stuff. What am I missing over here? Oh my goodness, I hate this weird click thing. Whoop up. Cheers. Hi Jake. Hey Katie. Hi. Who am I missing? DW, Nick G, Merrick, Prez, Ames. Yo, good Ames. Der Baum. William Prince. Hello. Put some music on. Let's party. Let's party. Yeah, I didn't expect to start this soon either. GRWG would be good for a look, maybe. Would it? GRWG? Groegig. This is like the Harry Potter ticker. Grow Generation Corp. Oh, you're talking about on the Rocky Outcrop trading show. Look at that for a retracement. They got brutalized. Oh God. Yeah, you got your divergence. Could be up for a little bit in terms of percentage move, but don't know about long term. This kind of thing. When I see that shirt, but yeah, can stocks only go up, bro? Like, so that's a bit of a move. You know, get something like that again, you'd be laughing. But you see, you can get 100% on the weed stocks on a number of them without having to potentially go through the risk that this thing offers. But yes, there is something here. Let's keep an eye out. GRWG. Grow Generation. Operation of specialty retail hydroponic and organic garden centers. Okay, so it's high end. The firm is also involved in the marketing and distribution of nutrients, growing media, lighting, benching, and racking of various. So everybody is. I mean, that's like to consumer retail side of things, which is like you're going to have to rely on economies of scale, your licenses, your partnerships, and your distribution mechanisms outperforming everybody. You're going to have to do it cheaper than everybody else. And ideally, you do it via the web as opposed to in-location hard stores, because then, like, your brand value could be easily overtaken by somebody else. And in such a nascent market, that could be what the difference in market share between this and 2 years' time. You know, especially if you just like franchise units and whatnot, and then they drive other people out the market. You have to be careful there. GRWG. That's what this one is. So there's options. Retail facing side of it would be less like that. Yeah, I see where you're coming from if that was inspired by my pickaxes and hammers comment, but it's more selling the tools to the manufacturers rather than being a point of distribution for them. You know, somebody else can take that risk on board. We're there to make money off the margins and the prefabrication, and I mean, it's not because it's growing, so it's not, but it's like, you know, the early stage, first levels, primary, secondary levels of the industry, as opposed to like the tertiary consumer facing side of things in it. Like, we want to make the growth from those companies that have got the biggest value at the back end, those that need the money so they floated in the first place. You know, those ones. In it, we're the masters of the universe and whatnot, rather than the people behind the tills. Like, we've already got the GameStop investment for these kind of things. But if this is one of the ones that have an opportunity to, maybe it's just there's all these anything that relies on allocation, which is also themselves not the primary producer of those things they sell. Perhaps we're looking at like the people who supply these shops and those that have got the brands with the biggest name, then looking at their R&D line, seeing what's coming. You know, also like every one of these things sells nutrients, and when I read that, I'm like, hi, right, but all the gyms sell nutrients. Everyone's out selling nutrients, in it. Everyone's out Newton. Oppenheimer, he was like, oh my god, what have I become? The destroyer of like natural hormone cycles and like heart muscles and stuff and all the rest of it that people get. And like, you take too much creatine, your hair falls out. You know that, Ken? Anyway, everyone loves their newts. Like pre-workout, you know. I was in pre-Mark the other day buying pants. It wasn't the other day, it was about a month ago. But they all roll into one, pants. So I was there in the queue, and there was this guy ahead of me, and he was drinking that pre-workout stuff, right? You know, everyone's walking around drinking it all the time. It's like an identity thing, right? It's an identity. A lot of people actually work out, but this guy, don't think so. I mean, he was thinner than me, so maybe he should be eating more of that, actually. But he was standing there drinking it, and the queue in Primark, you'll know what it's like. It's quite big. And he finished it, and I thought, well, you better get down and give me 20, right? But he didn't. He got another one out and started drinking it. Like, oh, these are things you have to make in advance. So, must have been going for some hell of a workout after Primark, like. Or I'm missing something. Anyway, so, how did I get onto that? Who did that to me? Jake, you did that, Jake. Drinking pre-workout for funsies, but it makes you... Does that what it does? I should have told him. Mate, you're going to be on the toilet for ages. Do you even know? Can't park there, mate. Can't park. Social biology crowd doing some very cool things past few years. Beating out hydroponics crowd in terms of yield and less pest, less overhead. Boom, boom. That's interesting, Stu. Social biology crowd. The social biology crowd. So what you're talking about there is gardens that maintain themselves. So you grow like complementary vegetation that puts nutrients into the soil from the air, or conducive to microbiology that speeds up production or something. These sort of things. Yeah, so what you're talking about there is the natural approach. And I've seen this in other industries where there's this faith in nature because, you know, there's this latent belief in all human beings that somehow we're predestined in God and so on. But when it comes to science, its truth is that nutrients are amazing, and they're just amazing, and like you can just pour nitrogen all over those motherfuckers, right? So, and also, who can be bothered like growing chickpea on a field every however too many see that? Now go into other fields too, and you'll have to deal with that, and like nobody can be bothered with even the thought of the work. So so we just ship in these nutrients, right? Brilliant news. That's what everyone should be doing. Everyone should be doing more of that, in fact. So, yeah, and then the runoff into the streams, that ruins the sea. But hey, you know, it's too late for the polar bears. It really is. Let's face it. We've got to prioritize. So, you know, we can pee on the plants. That speed things up a little bit. The beetles will love it and whatnot, but we're still going to nuke them with the newts. And if they can then themselves, you know, like the way we've managed to get beer, you know, with the yeast, it's just like become hardier and hardier and hardier beer. Yeast. So our beer's now stronger and stronger and stronger. Well done, lads. So same thing can be done with these beetles, or else they can just go like the polar bears, you know what I mean? Progress coming. So, and it's It's more nutrients. William, check out the term banker plants. Banker plants? Here, what? These plants are... Even these plants... Like a couple of years ago, it was the hamsters were outperforming the humans trading. Now it's the banker plants. Tell you what, banks would be in a lot better place if they were run by plants. No joke. They would be. Ba-doom. How many likes did we get here? 19. Surely it's more. 31! Oh my goodness, but still 17. That means people have come and gone. But they hit the like button at least. Thanks. Whew. Eh? They saved the day, Chuffy. They saved the day, Chuffy. What else is on the go here? These are pretty good trades. That's nice. What's Cat doing? Didn't get that. Whoa. Move to the top side for the ultimate short trade. Yet. Still, one of these days. Microsoft obviously kept going. That was good. Is this an opportunity? Go at that Rivian thing. Everyone was the Google moves good. Everyone's been talking about Rivian. So a lot of people took profit at that downward sloping resistance. Good on you guys. A lot of people took profit at that horizontal resistance at 1425. Good on you guys. Like it. This not yet managed to make that move. One of these days, yo. One of these days. Did come down. Obviously. That's a deep crab. There's going to be a lot of volatility on this thing. Is it explodies? See if SPY goes up. This is going to have huge move, folks. Huge moves. Plus, I think they're going to do something there with their... Anyway, no point saying it. We'll just watch what happens. Tilray, dub. Just could be looking at that in the next few weeks and days. What about this? 0.1770. Had your big move in February. $7. Subsequently, not so much happening here. Start barcoding soon for all this. Ugh. A lot of risk. Nothing worth doing there. What are we talking about over at what else? And the things with the whatchamacalls. Hey. Was it discussed how primary bondholders can promise such a high yield as opposed to just by trading them? I know nothing of bonds. Your DYL vid was very interesting. Yo, buddy. Was it discussed how primary bond receivers can promise such high yield as opposed to just by trading them? I don't understand the question. I'm sorry, Stu, but ask me again in a different way and I'll try. Bing bong. Corey, how's it going, sir? 20 blabs. 20 blabs. He bleed 20 blabs. So that means I can, for the first time today, for the first time this week, my friends, boom. There goes the wheel. Remember, white, everyone. Yellow, which it is you. You guys, congratulations. You get to splosh. Unfortunately, woe is me. I am not allowed to. Because I am green. I am the green part of the wheel, and that is orange, so I shall not be sploshing. Alas. Wah, and stuff, right? So, I'm going to go and cry about this on my Juliet balcony shortly. Poor Juliet. She loves Tradesploshing, but Tradesploshing loves the chairs. So, the chairs. Why am I on this horrible ticker? I did GameStop. That should get the likes. Why did people didn't know? People didn't even know. What about AMC? We put stuff in between GameStop and AMC. Did you notice that? So that the people who would be sensitive to hearing one or the other don't take out on me. You know. See how it is, right? I think it's a disgrace because nobody seems to realize, but GameStop isn't the only thing that's being traded. There's other things being traded. There's hundreds and hundreds of other stocks being traded. All these other distraction stocks, and one of them's this thing. Chief among those is this thing. Hey, can you believe it? What they've been doing to us? So, it came up towards this level of resistance. Didn't manage to find support here. That was what we were speculating on. Fell back down, lost the 200 period. Why am I doing? I'll start 4 hours. Fair enough, right? We are at the end of a week. Could check what the weekly candle was like. Oof, that's a breakdown formation, but you've not got an impulse move off the back of it. If it did happen, it'd be back down at 4. But it's not happened yet. Daily time frame. If it holds that 50 simple, test the basis line at 540. Potentially go on up, test that horizontal resistance of 10% on price action, possibly. So if GME and SPY are breaking up, I could see AMC hitting 550 for sure. And that 4 hour, well, we loved it. That idea of it turning around there didn't happen. So you've got this previous high to break, and you don't want to go back below this previous low. So you slip below 4.73, test the bottom side of this Bollinger Band, come to those levels. That wouldn't be all that surprising. 473. If you go back below 4.62, I'd expect you to come in and test 430. And if you don't hold that, you'll fill the gap down to 412. And that's what I'm talking about, the breakdown there. That's how it would look. If you do go back up, then it'll be breaking that 200 period moving average of 520, which on the hourly might look like, you know, there's not a real formation here. You've got bullish divergence, I suppose. Not much. A tiny trend line, but only giving you, you know, continuation divergence and enough of a reason to completely break down. Like, that's a continuation of divergence at the point where you wouldn't likely find rejection. Bulum. What did that say? Bulum. 20 months. 2.3 babies. 2.3 babies. Wow, there's no rest for the weary, huh? Jake, do you shoving the babies right in there? That would be the person having a baby, popping it out, immediately being pregnant again. Popping it out. And then you've got how many? 20 months? 2, that's 2. And 0.3. Well, a pregnancy term's typically around 9 months, Jake, so I don't know if it would be 0.3. I think 2 months of 9, that's not quite a third. It would be more like 2.25. So you're like 2.25 babies with no breaks, which is terrible on your wife. Right, that's terrible. You got to give her 5 months at least between babies. I mean, you know, it's heavy. Can you imagine carrying a bag on your back for 9 months, and then as soon as you put it down, Jake's like, "Here, I've got a bag for you." And then you put that one down, Jake's there. I've got this bag. You know, that's what Jake's doing. That's what he's doing to get all those babies in there. There's no other way, unless there's multiple moms. But then how's that going to work, Jake? You know, this is like the integrity of this relationship is breaking down. I don't know how this is working. We're trying too much too fast. I know what that's like. I've made that mistake. 9 months is a lie. It's 10. Nah, it's not 10. It's only 10 if you're having lazy kids, Prez. You got lazy kids. That's what it must be. Lazy kids. Prez, you got lazy kids. They just want to hide it. Right, so not for me. I was out in like less than 9, and then within a month I ran away. And here I am. Right, so this thing, top side of the Bollinger Band, you want to be pushing towards that, 515, 520, get back above there, you go for 550. At that stage, you've got a prior height and things to break, and needs SPY and GME to be breaking up, because, I don't know, like the enthusiasm and the momentum needs to come back in, so that we go boom, 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 rather than just boom, 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 you know, like that baby. Get me out of here and stuff. Right, what did the lights make it to there? Boom, 32. Oh, 16 freaking pounds. Pounds? Oh my god, that's worth like at least $17,000 on today's show alone. So, pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. Did you see the start of the show? It was spectacular as hell. Does reminds me of it. It was so good. Rightio. What was that thing that came in most recently? Did I see it? It was the 2.3 babies. Well, we're squeezing them in 40 weeks. So this reminds me of this. There was 2 doctors walking down the corridor, and one says "swoom," and the other one, no, it's "womb," and the other says, no, it's "womb," and it's "womb," and the nurse behind them says, "Gentlemen, it's "womb," and they both turn around and asked her, "How is it you would know what it sounds like when an elephant farts underwater?" You know, this is it. It's all the go in the hospitals. They love it in hospitals. So that's what it was like. And since that's the highest authority on the elephant farting. So that's what you were tuning in for, wasn't it? Have you hit the like button yet? I mean, this is definitely worth a like button click. I'm sure of it. Can we get that scientifically tested somewhere? I'm very sure that's worth a like button click. So what about this thing if it does break up? Where's your 236, says you? But I know your magic ruler can do this magic. Let me see it. Yeah, it's about 520, yo. Look at that, Sputta, this is magic. It's magic. I mean, magic. It's magic. It's maths, but it's also magic. It's magic maths. So, What else? I mean, somebody bought these guys. If that doesn't catch the center line, that's just gonna collapse again. If it does, 200 period moving average, not bad. 50 simple there. Positive slope, positive trajectory. If you manage to get back above, you'll have a positive splay. Price action on real would need to make it back above golden pocket for that to happen. Probably need to make it back above $2. Is it going to $2? Is it going to $2? That looks dodgy, yo. That's not great. That's shit. And maybe bullishly divergent, but look at the rank continuation, rank bearish divergence all through that. So we'll test the supports, and like you're not going to find support in a 15-minute, are you? You're going to find it in 4 hour. And where is it? This is at lows. So great and whatnot, but if it breaks down, it's crap. So there's that, and also as a company, it's like a hole in the ground. So that's what I think. Haha, they should never say anything negative though. Never. So if we frame that positively, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. So you can make money off that for sure. Certainly could do. What about this in terms of resistance on the daily though, Spotty? You're at the 200 period moving average, you're at a 382. Thinking that this comes back to 129. It's already at 1.39. Could happen. It could happen, Right, so this was a spectacular Saturday sploshing, brought to you by your host Tradesploshing. I just come back from down the mines. There is no break. There is no rest for the weary. The rest for you, though, light. We covered GameStop. We looked around the market. We checked in with everything anybody was looking for. I think we answered questions. I can't really remember. I checked in with the fans. With the fans, with the friends, with the club, with the gang, with the group, with my buddies, with my internet friends, with the GME traders, the AI traders, weed traders. What other things did we cover today? Did we check in with Spy and Vix and what it's going to do next week? What it's gonna do? We did a little bit at resistance and whatnot, and we talked about where this. Yeah, we filled all these gaps. Did we? Did we completely fill that one? I want to see what that closes at. Over here. Yeah, oh, spot 420, spot 70. Looks like we did close that. Maybe it's a bit higher. Probably still closed it. Very, very close. Anywho, so I'd say it's close enough is near enough. You know that. You'll always have enough. Whew. Yeah, so you've got a gap back down at 415. It's not all that far away on SPY. You've got your basis line there at 412. In terms of the open interest, expiration in open interest. Hey, look at that, eh? That's brilliant, easily defendable and whatnot. The lay of the land, eh? To get this open interest up. There it is. Do you want to see it? Do you want to? It's not really on the screen, is it? So what day is this? Monday. Aye. Well, not going to get all that much information on Monday alone. The 400 and then 421. I suppose 421 is some information because we're here already. But you're actually looking at the end of the week on the Friday, which again, this will profile obviously all change, but you're looking at fucked. But it's these guys doing it, eh? You know what I mean? Like, sure, there's people like me who'll buy it, but like 422, that's where you're pushing. 425, 428, 430. So it's exactly the same as the charts. You'll have people who buy it, like me, who buy it every day, sit there trading things like whatever, like these sort of things here. And they'll buy it. Buy it, probably be looking at it on the regular hours. And you'll be buying it, you'll be buying it at places like this. When it does things like that. We do that, and you'll take it to here, and then you take some profit, and then it comes back down again. You're doing that, and you buy it back up to that same level. And you take profit, and it'll come down there. It'll do that. You see that? You buy it to there. You'll see it do that. Then you take profit, and there'll be people like me doing that, over and over and whatnot, and that's grand. But we're going from 4197 to like 42. Ain't nobody buying it here, taking it to 430, 450. That happened down at 390. Anyone who's looking at those positions, you're just managing it with the risk up and down with open interest in certain types of contracts and instruments. There's no need to close long positions here. You've got your stops and profit, and that's all fine. The people driving price action is shorts, and the reason they're driving shorts is because this is all their outstanding commitment to trades. You see how that works, right? Open interest is all the decisions that have already been made and now need to be managed because time has moved on and price action is nowhere fucking near that. So how do they interact with the market, right? Well, they can only buy. They can't go around selling more of it. The problem we've already caused themselves, you know what I mean? So they end up buying it, and this is where they do it. They buy it on things like, this is what's happening on SPY. They do it on things like that. We talked about it all the time, and they lead up to it, and like this is what the Tradesploshing show's been about since for a long time, talking about how they keep doing this and why it's going to drive price action where to and whatnot. So what happened was everyone was like, like Burry's just bought loads of banks, right? So don't listen to anything these people say. So you're like looking at this, and it's and like they were all like, wow, right, stocks only go up, bro, right? They were ridiculous, and then at this point. They were like, oh, like that's a bit disconcerting, that's not great. We remember this as being like now a problem. Price action come back down, right? So what happened was short positions opened here, right? And they didn't close their long positions when it got back up here. They added to their short positions, and then it went down here, and then they added loads because loads of people who hadn't gone short here but were worried, saw this happening, knew that was then a lower high. They saw it coming down here with a lower low, and they're like, it's screwed, man, it's going to break down. So, and then this came along, this is another lower high, and then this came in. They didn't think it was going to stop here, right? Because you go, this up, and then a lower low, and then a lower high, and then they anticipated a lower low, right? And they were obviously wrong, because like we said, is this the bottom, as it was, and so they can't buy it there, right? So what happens is price action goes up, and it goes up again, because like they were hoping it would go down here. No, people don't need to buy it long here because the shorts themselves realize when it starts moving up, shit, we're screwed. So they start buying it, and the shorts start buying it because they're having to close out positions all the way up, closing them out. Price actually gets up here, and then some silly, daft, crazy people buy long here, and the same thing happens to them, right? The same thing happens to them. Either it breaks up, which is like stupid because you should have been buying it here, right? You should have been buying it long here and here, because then if it was to drop below these levels, you could sell it again and not lose much money, right? That's how you trade. Whereas a lot of people don't trade like that. They buy it like here because they're like, yeah, it's breaking out and I'll be rich, right? How many times do they make this mistake? Because that's not where you buy it, right? So you might think that, but that's not how it works. So anywho, so what you want to be doing is buying at the lows, right? The lows in that horizontal line underneath support price. People think this is obvious when it's explained to them in retrospect, but you can go watch my videos at the time and they're telling you what to do at the time, right? So like they are now. And so, it's not financial advice. Anyway, so you get that 50 simple there, that's in at 395, right? You could easily test that. Price action is at resistance here, right? It could go on a little bit further and just enough to convince people it's breaking out, which would be in around there. And then come back and test those levels. It could easily do that. And why would it go there? Because it needs to go there to completely shake out all the shorts. But it isn't long as it need to buy it, because then they'll get shaken out and price action comes down again. And if it does, which it could possibly, And then, if it go, then you're looking at 450 and whatnot, because again, the shorts will be like, yeah, finally, yay! No. And so that's the way price it, and then that's why SPY probably is going back to these levels, right? It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. You know that's a scam. It's not stopped being a scam. It's not like the economy used to be a scam 24 months ago and then it turned a corner. No, it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Right, yo. So nobody asked for that. Anywho, thank you very much for watching the Tradesploshing show about UVXY. It'd be very like the futures on the VIX contract. So we could go at the VIX first and say you're in the downward sloping channel. Spoke about this before, looking at the 4-hour time frame, try to get back up of that 50 simple, test 200, and then break it, test the basis line in around 22. So yeah, you want to get back above this. This is 1939 now. We're looking at 1888, the previous highs. Break above there, 1940, 39, whatever, and then you're looking for a test 21. That would be VIX going up because Spy's coming down. Spy doesn't necessarily look to be doing that. You're at the basis line within this channel. You got like an expanding Bollinger Band there on a 4-hour daily time frame. You're below the basis line. This is a downtrend, and you've got plenty of room to come down and test the bottom of that channel again. Weekly time frame, you know, 50 simple's just gone through the 200. You had a wick up to it due to the rejection subsequently, with this price action being so brutal after that test of 21.37, come back down closing in at 17 change. That's below the basis line again and suggests that a rejection and a positive cross, like the cross is itself a death cross and negative, but the performance has gone as textbook with the test and rejection, so possibly not so great. You know, and you tested the daily cross well and truly at any potential occasion, confirmed. So not great. And then 4-hour, you've got the negative slope, negative split, negative trajectory, price action below them all and finding rejection. So like that's not one day a full in terms of, like, it's not stock though, is it? It's just the volatility index, and it may well be then the SPY does push to 430, 450 if this thing's collapsing down. But like I'm saying, you know, it's poised to make a move. This is the way VIX is. It is poised to make a move, and when it does it, right, it typically, you know, you can measure these out and look about the oscillations on SPY. Right, there was 125, and then didn't really get a low in these, so we'll go like to that one. It was 285, so you're more than double in there. And then 316, and then 454. So, you know, what would this be? It could well be that you're waiting for a while for SPY to break down. 500, 600 bars. What time frame is that? 4-hour. So you're talking about 100. Talking about 3 months. Talking about August. Eh? Last of the summer wine. And on that note, Tradesploshing would like to thank you, every one of you, each and individually, for giving up your Saturday to have a good time and learn something and enjoy yourself with your friends in the chat box. And me, Tradesploshing, your friend, on the screen there. Your host that never sleeps. What, did you like that intro? Let me know if you like that intro. I thought I might do them on Sploshings. I don't know. It's up to you if you want them or not. Let me know. Thanks very much. Bye, everybody. Thanks very much to Corman. Very much, Corman. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for supporting the stream there. And did I see something come in here? Possibly did. Spotter. It was yesterday. Guitar outside. But thank you very much. It's appreciated. Thanks, everybody. See you on Monday. Hit that like button. 37 likes. That's not bad.